Okay. We are now joined by our very special guest for the week, the man of the hour, Peyton Watson, Long Beach Poly superstar, UCLA commit. Guy's having a very fun week right now. Peyton, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Give us a window into what the last 48 hours of your life has been like. I got a chance to talk to you kind of in the middle of the whirlwind, and I know it's just, you got news cameras, news crews pulling up to the house and superstars calling you and everything. What's it been like?
It's been wild. It's been super, super fun. I was kind of awestruck with all these people calling, texting me, people pulling up to my house, the news. So it was a great couple of days for sure. But we're just ready to be back at it in the gym.
Yeah, and I know you've been working out, but before we get into the serious questions, the first thing I had to ask you is, I know you guys watched the Snoop Dogg DMX versus last week, and your parents told me that Snoop called you like right after you made the announcement. What is that like? I mean, I know he's got obviously the connection to the Poly basketball program, but what's that moment like? You get a phone call from like one of the 10 most famous human beings on the planet Earth.
Nah, it was crazy. I was really awestruck when he called, just because I've been knowing about him since as long as I can remember, but also just because he's such an icon in the world today. Like, still to this day, he's making people laugh, smile, making hits. So it's great to get that call from him and let me know that he supports me.
And, congrats on UCLA. I mean, obviously one of the most historic college baseball or basketball programs in the country. Walk us through kind of the moment before you announced, because, obviously you had your decision made, but then you were holding on to it. You had this secret that you wanted to tell. So, what was it like holding that in and then to finally be able to share with everyone that you want to be a Bruin?
Man, I was super excited and anxious to tell everyone because I'm one of those people. I'm super proud of all the decisions that I make, and I have no regrets in what I do. So I couldn't wait to let everybody know. I was super proud to be a Bruin, and I'm glad the turnout was how it was.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're going crazy. I also got a chance to talk with you and your parents a little bit about the recruiting experience, which is something that we're interested in. What's the craziest story? Was it a DM from a 45-year-old man, or like what's the craziest part of the recruiting process for you that might surprise people for what it was like being in your shoes the last year?
Nah, it has been crazy. I with my growth on social media and just me getting bigger and bigger on Instagram and stuff like that, I have gotten some crazy DMs. It's been pretty wild. I would say the most crazy one so far has probably been a fan of one of these colleges. I won't say any names, but he was like, "Bro, what's your cash app, bro? I'll cash app you $1,000 right now." I was like, "Bro, it don't work like that, man."
All right, I'll give you mine after we get. I'll give you mine, and then they can just send it to
it's
me.
at Gardabasio.
Yeah. No. No, send them to the 562. We're always looking for new subscribers,
Yeah. That's hilarious. Your mom told me, she said, your parents trust you. You're a mature kid. You got your head screwed on pretty tight. She said they kind of trusted you to go through this process. They weren't really micromanaging you a lot. She says she did see your phone at one point and realized that you had like 300 something unread text messages.
That's crazy.
What's it been like? I mean, is it just a constant stream of coaches and fans, and I'm sure the college recruiting writers as well? I mean, is your phone just going off constantly?
Well, for a minute there, like during quarantine and like probably a month off from my decision, it was crazy with all the coaches calling me. My recruiting had really picked up at that point, and I was getting hit by everybody in the country pretty much. So, like she said, I had so many unread text messages, so many voicemails. It was like almost like I was scared to work out because I knew I was going to miss a few calls. So, like, I even had to start waking up earlier because of summer, I was waking up at like 10:30 or so. I had to start waking up at 8 just so I could take phone calls because I remember one day I woke up with 7 of them missed. So I was like, dang, this is like a job.
It is like a job. No, it is. It's
Yeah.
it's like a separate full-time job besides being a student, being in your family and being a basketball player. But it's also like, you got to tell these guys, I grow while I sleep. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Call me at noon California time. Let me get my sleep.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
I had to tell a few of them, like, every day I was missing the same people's calls from 12 a.m. to 2. And I'm like, I tell you every day, coach, I'm going to work out at the same time every day. Just wait till I'm done and I'll pick up your call.
Wow, they
But,
call after midnight without even the you up text, huh? They just go right to the phone call.
they get straight to it, man. No, but I was appreciative of all of them taking the time to call me.
As a kid growing up in Southern California, obviously, you've got, able to watch UCLA growing up and be close to the program. What are kind of the teams that you connect with that you kind of grew up watching that kind of drew you into the program?
Well, I always watched UCLA athletics in general from the time I was growing up. I was always around it. My uncle went to UCLA, so there was obviously that influence in my house as well. But I just knew it for being such a great school and a great place to be at. My uncle loved his time there. My dad always grew up watching UCLA basketball and would tell me about it. And as I grew up more and more, I started to watch all those guys that were going to school there and playing basketball. And I definitely could have saw myself going there back then. So it's crazy to now think that I'll be attending there next year.
I feel like something a lot of poly athletes have said to me when they commit to UCLA is they feel like there's a real continuity between the two schools where, they're both public schools. They're both very diverse. They both have really strong academic and athletic history. Did you kind of see some of those parallels when you talk about, sort of historic original Blue Bloods as you were thinking about your colleges?
100%. I saw that there was a direct correlation in the culture between Poly and UCLA. That's ultimately why we chose Poly, was because of the diversity and the versatility between sports and academics. So we saw that same thing in UCLA, and it's the same kind of fit for me. I'm a real outgoing, extroverted kid, and I love getting to know people. So with the diversity that UCLA has, it's a perfect fit for me.
How much time did you get to spend in Westwood before committing? Are you excited to be up there for that? Obviously, when we can go outside and mingle a little bit more.
Not as much as I would have liked, actually. I went up for like 3 or 4 games, and I loved my time up there. Super cool area, as everyone knows, super nice area. But I can't wait to get back up there and check some stuff up out there and take my visit, hopefully, soon after all this stuff dies down.
Let's talk a little bit about this upcoming season for you as you're getting ready for your senior year of high school here. You and I talked a little bit before, but I think it's sort of interesting. I'd like it if you run through it again. A lot of the top players are going to have to make this decision between, do I want to just do AAU? Do I want to just do high school? Do I want to try and do both of them? But with the season shifting to this March through June schedule, what are your thoughts and what are your plans for this upcoming year?
My plan is to first and foremost focus on my high school team. That's where all of my commitment is at the time. For me, AAU is pretty much done, dog. It's crazy for me to think that I'll be a top 10 player, number 1 player in California, go off to UCLA without ever playing a 17U AAU game. But I mean, that's just how it all unfolded for me. But I'm excited to watch my brother play AAU, and I'm also excited to get back together with my poly team. But I'm 100% committed and focused on my senior season at poly.
So tell us about how good that team's going to be. We've all been kind of, licking our chops over a little bit, as I know you have. You mentioned Jalen has transferred in. You guys have got some reinforcements along with everyone who got all that valuable experience last year. What does Poly look like in the spring if we're able to see you guys out on the court?
I think it's scary how good we could be, honestly, just because we have so many good guys, so many experienced guys. But at the same time, we all love each other like brothers. We're all so close. We have great chemistry. We all want the best for each other, and we're all supportive of each other. So there's none of us going back and forth at each other. None of us mad at each other. We're all happy for each other's accomplishments, and we're ready to go and ready to play with each other. So I think the sky is really the limit for us.
You briefly mentioned your rankings, and it seemed like, especially the year after that summer, after your sophomore year, before your junior year, you really blew up. And every time rankings came out, it was like, oh, here he goes, Peyton, a little bit higher, a little bit higher.
He was the right stock to have invested in, yeah, for sure.
Hey man, you gotta get it on the ground floor. You know what I mean? And now it's through the roof. So, how much attention do you pay to that kind of stuff, and does it motivate you to continue to work harder and get better when you notice that people around the country, have their eye on you and, are paying respects to your talents and your potential?
I mean, I don't really pay attention to my ranking much just because, like, my goal is to every time people come see me to get better than the time they saw me before. So every time they come see me, I'll be better than the last. And I think I show that on the rankings. Every time they come out with a new one, I keep going up and up and up, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So the rankings, I pay attention to them to a certain extent, but I'm just focused on becoming the best basketball player I can become. And then I know that everything will kind of unfold how it may when we get to that point. But just becoming the best and most complete basketball player I can be is my main goal.
What video games is everyone playing behind you?
2K and GTA. That's all we play over here. I had to take a break from GTA because it was getting a little too violent. I didn't like where things were headed, but
yeah, that game could push you to some places you don't want to go as a person. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You make you do some stuff you didn't think you could do, but we're all good kids over here, so we're staying sane.
Yeah, for sure. We're recording this shortly before the Lakers are going to tip off. I think the Pelicans are putting it on the Jazz right now. How happy are you as a hoop fan? I know even if you and your brother didn't end up being that good at basketball, I know your parents are obsessed with basketball, and that's that's what you guys are always talking about as a family. How happy are you guys to have NBA games back? And who are you rooting for? Who's your team or your players as they get going inside the bubble?
Well, it's big for us that basketball's back because that's all we watch over here pretty much. I found myself so bored. I'm watching old games, old highlights, all that other stuff. But now that we got new stuff to watch, new games with the Lakers and Clippers coming up, that's all we're talking about around here. So I definitely got the Lakers in the bubble. That's my team. But good luck to everybody else out there. But, me and you, Mike, we right here.
Yeah, you have yet to, basically in the 3 years I've known you, you have yet to make a decision that I disagree with. You know what I mean? It's like he stayed at his local school. He picked a public school for college. He didn't go to the prep school. He's a Lakers fan. It's perfect for me.
Let's keep
Mike G, the consigliere, Mike G. Peyton, you have a pretty unique skill set, but one that's very valuable in today's game. Are there any pros that you kind of model your game after, or you try to mimic the stuff that they do on the court that you could kind of see yourself in when you watch the professionals go at it?
Oh, most definitely. I kind of take parts of people's game and I kind of try to add it to mine. So I don't necessarily just model my game off of one player, but I take parts of people's games. So I love Devin Booker's, like, before he even takes a dribble, his jab step, his pump fakes, all his mechanics going into his jumper. I look at Jason Tatum's versatility, Brandon Ingram's versatility, his ability to play both ends. And then obviously my biggest inspiration so far in basketball has been Kevin Durant. But I just try to take parts of those guys' games and just try to add them to mine and get better every day.
If you added 40 pounds of muscle in the next 3 months, would Kevin Durant still be your biggest inspiration, or is that purely a body frame inspiration?
No, 100%. I think he has the greatest skill set of all time. I mean, y'all can argue with me, but being as big as he is at 7 feet and being able to handle the ball and shoot the way he does, it's unheard of. And I think everybody can respect that. Not some of his decisions. I understand that.
I don't even have problems with his decisions personally. I mean, I would like to go win a championship as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's me, but I didn't go work for the crappiest newspaper I could find. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how most people do stuff.
Yeah, I understand that completely too. And at the end of the day, we're all out here making decisions that are the best for us. So I wouldn't mind going up to Silicon Valley, staying in Northern California, and winning the championship. I mean, that's just me, though. I mean, I know other people disagree with that, but as far as skill set goes, I'll always look up to Kevin Durant, no matter how old I get, how strong I get, how much my body changes. I'll always look up to Kevin Durant because of his commitment to his work.
And you're working right now in the off season, trying to get ready for the year ahead. What are some of the main things you're trying to work on with your game and some of the skills that you're trying to refine so that you can be that next step better next year, like you said?
I've been lifting and getting stronger first and foremost because I think that elevates every other part of my game, whether it's my handle and my consistency and my mechanics for my shot. But just getting stronger and getting better conditioned, as you guys know, and saw all season, I play a lot of the game, if not all of it. I don't usually come out very much. So just working on my conditioning and being able to go 100% the entire game has been big for me. And then, just like I said before, working on the consistency in my shot and my handle. But those are the main points of emphasis so far.
Last question for me. You mentioned that your uncle Brantley, who Tyler and I have both known for quite a while, you mentioned that he went to UCLA. He was not a basketball player. He was a student journalist. I believe the Daily Bruin column was What's on My Mind with Peyton Watson. Has he given you any pointers about being nice to the student journalists and stuff when you get up there?
Nah, he's actually had a few conversations with me like that, but he just told me be cool and cordial to everybody you meet on that campus because you never know who will be what when they grow up. I mean, he was telling me that when he was going there, he was nice to everyone because some of those guys that people consider nerds could end up being his boss one day. So he just told me be super cool to everybody, make connections, and those type of connections can last forever.
For sure. Well, Peyton, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's a busy week, and we sincerely appreciate it. Very happy for you. Happy you're going to stay in SoCal, and enjoy the rest of your summer, bro. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, Mike. Appreciate you guys having me on.
All right. See you.
Congrats.